Mike here with the Elevator Consultants on site checking on a modernization that we're running. Right now we're outside one of the machine rooms up here. You can see all the parts and equipment, and then really this is the staging area for everything. So I might go through this here in a minute. But here's the first machine room. You can see they got the door frame indoors, completely gone. That's probably what is kind of blocking it for now. This is the old motor. Looks like a Westinghouse or Otis. Westinghouse, here we go. So inside here you can see this is where the brake had run across. You can see the shaft where they had cut this to try to get it out. All the windings inside here. Pretty cool stuff. And here are the old machines, or what is left of them. These are geared machines. I'm trying to look for one. Oh, here we go. So this is really the bell housing. So that part would get, right now it's upside down, so it get flipped right side up, and it would lay on top of here. You can see some light in here. You can see a worm gear that's down here in the bottom. You can see how deep those grooves are. Normally this whole thing is covered or full of oil is what I'm trying to say. And then over here, you can see how those gears, well, let's go take a look at it. Those gears should be these guys here. That would mesh up with the worm gear that's sitting down underneath. So that worm gear meshes with this gear, which in turn drives your drive shaft here, which is what the cables wrap up against, and that's your geared machine. Unfortunately there's no gear list to show you the difference on this one real quick, but you get the idea of what's inside a geared machine, which is actually pretty darn cool. This stuff is just huge on a scale. Let's see if there's anything else in here we could see. But overall, pretty neat stuff. This I'd have to look at a tag, but this is likely a Westinghouse 28, I'm guessing. I don't see any tags left over here. Actually, they're bigger machines. They might be Westinghouse 38s, but anyhow, you get the idea. So, all in all this equipment's going to go. So they still have a part of this machine left here. Over here, you can see where the other machine was mounted on. Got our plates here. And down through here, these holes in the machine room floor. So kind of hit it with some light so you can see what I'm talking about. That's both sides where the cables drop through. If we take a peek down in here, you can see this is where the car is currently hung up at. I hang up by the rails inside the hoistway. Everything's on big scale. All of our old wiring is inside here. This is really where the traveling cables come up through. Some people call this a raceway, some people call it a trough. But really the extension cord, which is kind of how you can look at this is what would connect the control system to the actual elevator inside the hoistway. So they can communicate and tell the elevator what to do. The elevator can tell the controller where it's at, and so forth. So obviously the controllers are gone. You can see where the controllers, they've been painted around. But that's obviously one location of the first controller. Looks like the second one was sitting right here. But that's what we got. I-beams are set up, so they'll slide this part across. They can lift really heavy stuff up and down over these ledges here. Our old disconnects, these are all going to disappear. All the new stuff is on site already, locked out, tagged out. Obviously they got the, I might as well explain this to you. So it is common for traction elevators, which is what these are, to have I-beams installed directly above the machines. So we can end up using these gantry cranes to lift anything heavy and make any repairs that are needed. So this is the motor down here. So if they ever had to get the motor off and all the equipment is here in the machine room, they've got a way to attach something to this I-beam and basically lift it and move it. So obviously they're using it to rip all the old stuff off, and we're going to put new stuff in with it. That's what we have. Take a walk down here. See what kind of spare equipment we have, and then we'll close this room up for Andy and plywood. House to Whitney, it looks like these are new governors. Gonna be inside these boxes. Back here, illuminated with some light. These should be these are your machine brakes. Very similar in style to what you have on an automobile. These are called disc brakes. Most cars have that now. Very few nowadays have drum brakes, but that's a different stuff they do use for elevators. Hollister Whitney, those are probably your rope grippers inside there. Here's another bell housing. New I-beams. Here's the new isolation transformers. Step down here on this ladder. New disconnects. Okay. Just kind of hoping to show you the new machines, but I don't see them. So this is the second part of this mod. We're going to take a walk down here. Given this isn't fully completed yet, obviously we don't have our door, but our new control systems are installed. Our new machines are installed. These are Hollister Whitney, but same principle that we saw before with the bell housing and a worm gear. That's all going to be inside here. It's just brand new stuff. Isolation transformers are here. You can see all of our electric is run overhead, so there's no tripping hazards in here. Some of the lighting has been installed. They're still going to install some new stuff, which is going to be up here. Let's take a walk up. New lighting fixtures still need to be installed. Old equipment. We've got motor generators here. That's older technology. So those have been replaced by these, which are called drives. It's really what supplies power to your machines. New disconnects. We do have a group controller here. You can see what the old control systems look like. All mechanical contacts and fuses. And all the new stuff that gets installed nowadays, for the most part, is going to be microprocessors. So this is from a company called MCE, Motion Control Engineering. They're out of California. This is really the latest and greatest from them. So microprocessor and drive, mechanical contacts, and our motor generators. You can see they're kind of using this other machine room as some storage until they get all the parts out. I don't know where the light's at. There we go. Same thing that we saw in the other machine room. Inside here, there's our worm gear, old motor. What a nightmare. But it's all leaving. Inside here is an absolutely enormous hydraulic pump unit assembly tank. I think this is Eco, but I can't tell. I think it is. But the pump unit assembly is absolutely massive. Normally you don't see them this big. They're roughly, if you take this entire pump unit, so maybe I can stand back a little bit, and you cut that in half, that's more of a typical size that you see for a pump unit assembly. So, but this part is getting pretty close to being finished up. There's some stuff they need to clean up. You can see they started painting. Looks like they painted some stuff back here. They got all the pans and brushes and rollers right here. So they still got to fix that. Split units in the back. So really all the non-elevator related work is included in this project. This is what we call turnkey. So upon substantial completion, everything is turned over to the building and you're good to go. But really, this is it for machine rooms for modernization, so you can kind of see new parts to a mod getting pretty close to being completed, which is here, and then really at the initial stages of ripping stuff out, which was the first machine room that we had looked at. But once this project is complete, everything's going to be real bright in here. All the painting is going to be done. Really, you're going to be able to eat off the machine room floor. It's going to be how it's going to look. So. But that's all we have for here.